Come in.
Hi, I'm Gabby. I'm going to be your nurse today. I'm going to be giving you a head-to-toe physical assessment. It should take about 15 to 20 minutes. Is this okay with you?
Yes.
Okay. Can you please confirm your name and your birthday?
Symmetra Gonzalez and 11/27/95.
Okay. Do you have any allergies?
No.
And what would you rate your pain on a scale of 0 to 10? 0 being nothing and 10 being the worst pain you've ever felt.
0.
Okay, so just looking at my client, I can see that his skin matches his ethnicity. He looks his age, 24. I can tell that he takes care of himself. I don't see any facial grimacing. Don't hear any groaning or anything. Can you please state your height and your weight?
I'm 5'7", 167.
Okay, so I would say that my client is in the overweight category with his BMI, which is probably a little under 27. Just looking at him, his posture is nice. He's not slouching, not using any of his extremities to hold himself up. And seeing his gait as he was walking in, I didn't see any limping, didn't see any use of walking devices. Do you know where you are?
I'm in the hospital.
And do you know why you're here?
To get a physical.
Okay, so I would say that my client is ANO times 4, which is good. So now we're going to start by assessing his skin and his nail. So just feeling his skin, it's warm to the touch, which is good. His hands are a little cooler, which is normal because they're farther away from his core. His arms have vascularization, which is good. I'm seeing small macules, but those are normal. Yeah, I don't see any lesions besides those, and then his skin color matches his ethnicity. And his nails, there's slight discoloration around his fingers. Do you bite your nails?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that would explain that. His nails are hard, pink, short. I would say his angle is about 160. Can you put your fingers together like this? Okay, so there's a gap, so he has no clubbing, which is good. And then just testing his cap refill. 1, 2. 1, 2. So his cap refill is normal, it's under 2 seconds. So now we're gonna move on to his head and face. It's okay if I touch your head?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so his hair's even distribution, thick. I don't see any hair loss or any lesions or scaling, which is good. His head, you can look up, is normal cephalic, which is a normal head shape. It's symmetrical. I don't see any drooping or anything. And yeah, so his face is symmetrical. His eyebrows and his eyelashes are all there with no lesions on them. So now we're going to check his range of motion for his head and neck area. And also his neck, I don't see any tracheal deviation or JVD. Okay, so can you move your head side to side and then up and down? And then can you touch your ear to your shoulder and the other side? And now I'm going to do the same thing with resistance. So turn to your right, left, up, down, and then try to, okay, so I would say that my client has full range of motion with strength against resistance. And now I'm going to move on to his ears. So do you use any hearing aids?
No.
Okay, so based on how he's answering me, I can tell that he can hear me, so there's no hearing loss. Do you like work in any environment that would cause hearing loss?
Mm-mm.
And how do you clean your ears?
With the Q-tip.
Okay, how do you clean them?
Just on the outsides.
Okay, good. So now I'm going to check his ears for any drainage and color. So I don't see any drainage. His eardrum has some pallor, which is normal. You see the shininess of it, but no drainage. And his ears are symmetrical and in the same horizontal plane. Now I'm going to move on to his nose. So his nose is midline to his face. It's proportional to the rest of his face. Symmetrical. I don't see any deviation from here. So can you touch your head up? I don't see any drainage, which is good. It's pink and moist as it should be. Can you close one nostril and breathe in? And then the other side. So both airways are patent, which is good. Now I'm going to move on to his eyes. So his eyes are also symmetrical. I would say that his eyes are about a 5 on each side, which is good. Just keep looking at me. Okay, and then follow this. Okay, so his eyes have perla, which is good. His sclera is white, his conjunctiva is pink. And like I said earlier, his eyebrows and eyelashes don't have any lesions, which is good. So now I'm gonna look at his mouth. His lips are pink, which is good. Can you open your mouth, or smile actually? Okay, and I don't see any cracking. They're aligned together, which is good. His gums are pink and moist, and then can you open your mouth? His soft palate and hard palate are both pink, which is good. His oral mucosa is pink and moist, and I don't see any lesions. And then can you stick your tongue out and then say ah? Okay, so more. Okay, so his uvula is rising and falling as it should be with vibration, and his tonsils I would say are at a +1. So also forgot to check your radial pulses, so actually no, I didn't do that yet. And yeah, so I did that. I didn't smell any odors or have any problems with the color, and yeah. So next I'm gonna do his upper extremities. And so I'm just like same thing as earlier, I'm just feeling his arms for any texture changes or evenness. Same temperatures earlier, and just checking his range of motion. Can you put your arms out in front of you and like move them up and down and then side to side, and then can you like raise them like this? Okay, and now we're gonna do the same thing, so just push your hands against mine, like try to, okay, and then pull back. Okay, now go out, and then in, and then put your arm out like this, and pull in, push out, back, front, and then same thing on this arm, in, out, back, front. Okay, so I'd say that my client has full range of motion in his upper extremities, with strength to resistance. And now I'm going to move on to his respiratory. Oh, and I also forgot to take his radial pulses, so I'm going to check for those to see if they're symmetrical. Okay, so I'd say that his radial pulses are +2 regular rate bilaterally, which is good. So now to his respiratory system, I can see that he's not breathing labored, so his breathing is unlabored. I don't see any use of accessory muscles. And also for his eyes, I forgot to say that he's blinking them effortlessly and he's closing them all the way, which is good. Yeah, so he's not using any accessory muscles to breathe, so now I'm going to listen to his 6 sides front, and then 6 sides posterior, and then 2 sides laterally. So just breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in. Okay, so I'm going to do this posterior, so same thing. Breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in. And now his lateral, so lift your arm. Okay, breathe in, breathe in. Okay, and then we're going to the other side. Breathe in. Breathe in. Okay, good. So I didn't hear any adventitious breath sounds, which is good. Everything was clear in his bronchovesicular, and his vesicular sounds. And now I'm going to move on to his cardiovascular system. So first I'm going to listen to his carotid pulses, feel them. Okay, so I'd say that each side is +2 regular rate bilaterally, which is good. So now I'm going to listen to his heart sounds with the diaphragm first. So it's apical and then pulmonic. And then his Erb's point. To tricuspid. And then midclavicular, fifth intercostal space is mitral. Okay. And now I'm going to listen to it with the bell. So, aortic. Pulmonic, Erb's point, tricuspid, and then mitral again. Okay, so I didn't hear any abnormal sounds, which is good. Now I'm gonna find his apical pulse and listen for a minute, but I'm not actually gonna listen for a minute right now. So, like here. Okay, and his rate is regular. Nothing is wrong with that. So now I'm gonna move on to his gastrointestinal system. So, were you experiencing any pain in your abdomen today?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and when was the last time that you voided?
I think yesterday.
And when was the last time you had a bowel movement?
I would say early yesterday.
Okay, so I'm gonna have you lay back, and I'm just gonna check for inspection. So I'm just gonna lift the shirt up. So just looking at his abdomen, it's the same color as his skin, which is good. There's a normal contour. I don't see any distension that would be abnormal to his body weight. It's warm, which is good since it's his core. And I don't see any peristalsis or pulsating. So now I'm going to auscultate each quadrant for bowel sounds, starting in the right lower quadrant. So I would say that his bowel sounds are normal. They weren't hyperactive or hypoactive. So now I'm going to palpate and just let me know if you feel any pain.
Okay.
Any pain anywhere?
No.
Okay. So that's good. There's no pain or just guarding, which is good. So now I'm going to move on to his lower extremities. So just looking at his legs, he has hair on his legs, which shows he's getting good vascularization. His legs are same temperature, feet. It gets cooler down here because it's farther away from his core. I'm going to check for his fetal pulses. So I would say that his pupil pulses are bilaterally, probably +1. They aren't very bounding. It's kind of hard to feel, but regular rate. And just feeling his legs, I don't see any lesions or feel any texture differences, which is good. So now I'm going to, oh, I do see a lesion right there. It looks like a bug bite. So can you put your legs out for range of motion and then move your feet like this and that way, circles, and then other way, and then can you wiggle your toes, and then can you feel that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing against resistance. So push against my hands, pull back, out, in, and then try to push your legs in, and then out, and this way, and then in. Okay, so I'd say that my client has full range of motion with strength against resistance in his lower extremities. So that concludes the assessment. Is there anything else that you need?
No.
Okay, so I would put his bed in the lowest lock position with 2 to 3 side rails up, and I would put the call light in reach for him and just ask if he needed anything else, and then tell him that the doctor's coming, and then I'd perform hand hygiene again, and then that would be the end.